Accelerated Math 6-7 students. We are on Module 5, Lesson 2. And Module 5, Lesson 2 is called Polygons on the Coordinate Plane. And here are our notes for today. Polygons on the coordinate plane. So, I'm pretty sure that you are familiar with what a coordinate plane is by now because we've been working with them quite a bit. This is a picture of a coordinate plane right here. It's where we have an y-axis and an x-axis that are intersecting, and they create a workspace for drawing diagrams on a graph. Okay, so that's a coordinate plane. Has four quadrants, and we label them as Roman numerals. So this is quadrant 1 right here. This is quadrant 2 right here. This is quadrant 3 right here, and this is quadrant 4 right here. You go counterclockwise because that's how you mark degrees on the unit circle, is you go counterclockwise. Okay. So today, other than talking about the coordinate plane, we're going to actually put polygons on it. So our goal, today we will learn how to determine side lengths of points on a coordinate plane. The question that I want you to be thinking about during our lesson is, how do you plot ordered pairs on a coordinate plane? We actually have covered this, but it's been a long time since we have covered it, and so I would like to throw that in as a tiny little bit of a review. So let's practice what we know. It says use absolute value to find the length of the segment. So again, another task that we're looking at is absolute value. So the first thing that we have to do is this little table is telling us what we're trying to figure out. We're trying to figure out the length of segment AB. And the only way that you can do that is by figuring out what the ordered pair for A is and what the ordered pair for B is, and then using absolute value to find it. Okay? One thing that you need to know about finding distances between 2 points is that you have to subtract the 2 points. So it says to find the distance between 2 points, you must subtract the 2 coordinates that are not the same. Now some of you are going, oh my gosh, what does that mean? Well, I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so let's take a look at the graph and the table because we're going to be comparing them. We need to remember that we're supposed to subtract the 2 coordinates that are not the same. So let's take a look at it really quick. So we have line segment AB, which happens to be right there. Okay, the point A is used. So if you look at your graph, here is 0, 0. So how did we get to A? We went to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the -4. And we went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We went up 8. So the point -4, 8 is A. Okay. The second point that we have listed here is you go to the right 2, 1, 2, and you go up 8. So that's point B. So this is point A, and this is point B. Okay, so we have the ordered pairs. Now what we're supposed to do, according to the directions down at the bottom, is to find the distance between 2 points, you must subtract the 2 coordinates that are not the same. So if we look at this, this is -4 and 8. This is 2 and 8. Well, the 8s are the same. So we can't subtract those because those are exactly the same. So what you're supposed to focus on is you're supposed to focus on the 2 that are not the same. So we have -4 and we have 2. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to take the 2 coordinates that are not the same and subtract them using the absolute value. So we're going to skip this for just a second and go over here, and we're going to write it what it says. It says use absolute value to find the distance. So you're going to take the absolute value of -4, which looks like that. You're going to subtract the absolute value of 2, and that's going to tell you what the distance is. So let's try it. If we have the absolute value of -4, everybody knows that -4 is 4 hops from 0. So the absolute value of that is 4. The absolute value of 2 is 2 hops from 0. And then it says that we are supposed to, and this is a typo, Mrs. Nelson. She needs to fix it because I wasn't paying attention. It says we're supposed to subtract those 2 distances. And so if we're looking at this, we need to find, and I don't think we are supposed to subtract it. So let's see. You're supposed to subtract it when it's not the absolute value. So what we're actually going to do is we have to add them because we want to know what is the distance between both of them. So if we know that one of them is 4 and the other one is 2, right? So looking at 0, we have 4 this way, we have 2 this way. So what would the total distance be? You actually have to add them. Okay, so sorry for the confusion on that. That got a little bit confusing. So we're actually going to add them. Okay, so looking at our distance from 0. So here's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's 0, 1, 2. So that gives us a total distance of 6. Okay, and so that's how we got the distance between point A and point B is 6. Okay, does that help you? All right, so let's try another one that is not confusing. Okay, so now we're going to do BC. So we're looking at B. So we know that B already, right in your ordered pair, is 2, 8, right? That's B. And now we need to find C. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To the right 6, and up 8, because we already counted it, and that's C. So this coordinate is the same as this coordinate, so we're not looking at those. We're looking at 2 and 6. So we have to take the absolute value of 2 and the absolute value of 6, and we're trying to figure out what that distance is, because we're going from B to C. So this is where it's going to get tricky. So it might be subtract on this one. What is the distance from 0 to B? That's 2, right? What is the distance from 0 to C? That's 6. But we don't want this whole thing, because if we added those two, then that would mean that we have a distance of 8, which this little segment right here is not 8. Look at the graph. You only have a distance of 4. So on this one, you're going to have to subtract the two distances like we had before. So we're going to say subtract on that one. And we need to make sure that we're subtracting them the distance of those two, right? So if we have a distance of, let's write it the other way. I want to write C first. So I'm going to do the absolute value of 6, right? And then I'm going to do the absolute value of 2, right? So the absolute value is 6 away from 0. The absolute value of 2 away from 0. So if we're just focusing what is the distance between those two, then we would subtract and we get 4, which the distance of 4 is there. So this technically, this little proof right here is written backwards. We actually need it to be the absolute value of 6 minus the absolute value of 2, which gives you a 4. And so the distance is 4. So you're going to have to play with it and see which one will work. The nice thing about this is that you actually have the picture there to go back and double check yourself. Okay, so again, that was a little bit iffy, so let's try another one and hope we don't get iffy. So we already know that A is -4, 8. We already know that C is 6, 8. So again, the 8's are already used. So now let's look at, we're looking for the distance from A to C. So we need to find the absolute value of -4, and then we have to find the absolute value of 6. And then it looks like we're adding those because we're going from A all the way to C. So we know the absolute value of -4 is 4 away from 0. We know the absolute value of 6 is 6 away from 0. And then to get the total line, we're going to add them together so we get a distance of 10. So that's how we found 10 on that one. That one worked. That's the first one that worked. Okay? All right, so play with it. See what you come up with. We're going to practice a lot of this in class, so I don't want you to get overwhelmed, but I do want you to try and play with it. Remember, if it looks confusing, go back to your picture and find it. I don't expect it to be perfect the first time around, but I want you to know what to do when you're working on it. Okay? So I'm going to let you finish up. You're going to find the distance from C to D. You're going to find the distance from D to E. And you're going to find the distance from E to F. And I want you to decide what you have to do as far as adding and subtracting the absolute values to come up with the distance. Remember, the picture is there to help you to figure it out. Okay? All right, so our goal for today, let me back out a little bit so that you can see. Our goal for today we will learn how to determine the side lengths of points on a coordinate plane. Question, how do you plot ordered pairs on a coordinate plane? Hopefully by me actually doing a couple, that will help remind you how to do that. Okay? And again, use the picture to help you. All right? And that's all we have for today, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!